just ended. Very conflicting feelings, I'll be honest. Very conflicting. The movie just ended, literally just ended. I don't know how to feel, I'll be honest. I don't know how to feel, and I mean that in a sense of, it's a mix of emotion. It's like a million emotions in one. I'll be honest, most of them are good, but the 2 or 3 bad emotions overpower the good emotions, if that makes sense. I don't know, we'll talk about it a bit more. So, I like to start off, I'm not gonna dog on it, right? I will say this is one of the best animated movies of all fucking time. And I mean that with my heart. I don't give a fuck what you think. This is the best, one of the best animated movies of all time. The color, immaculate. The timing, immaculate. I don't know a lot about animation, but from what I see with my eyes and what my brain connects with, the best, one of the best. That first sequence with Gwen and her family and her world, how they use the different pastel colors, a lot of watercolors. They use the colors to represent the emotion. Fucking beautiful. I loved it. I'll be honest, very rarely do I fanboy for something other than like the source material. Very rarely do I fucking fanboy for things like fucking animation. But that shit, like when I tell you, nigga, you need to see this fucking movie if you like animation. If you want to study animation, you need to watch this movie, because I didn't really get to see it I know there was probably like a million fucking animators that was working on this shit. It was way better than the first movie. This movie was better than the first. And if you've seen the first, you know how good the first one was for it to even be, what was it, like 10 times better, fucking 100 times? There's Aiden behind the camera. Say what's up, Aiden.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Like I can't stress to you enough how much you need to go see this fucking movie. One thing that I also liked, of course, the characters, but I also liked how they made everything seem, how do I say this? They made everything seem appropriate. And I mean that in the sense of like, you would see the family dynamics between Miles and his mother and father, and that would be just as important as, say, Spider-Man 2099 and Spider-Gwen talk. Usually with superhero movies, it's like, oh, the alter ego or the person behind the mask, their life is not as important as, you know, the superhero's life. But this movie, it made it very important. I really liked how they were showing the dynamics. Also, side note, this is a funny ass movie too. Like, this movie was funny as shit. Like, I don't laugh if I don't need to. I don't give no pity laughs. This movie was funny as shit. I liked it because, you know, a lot of people like to say, oh, they added some jokes for adults. No, they didn't even do anything. Like, nothing was inherently dirty. It was just like, it's how people would actually react. There was comedy in this for like, they were also telling jokes that New Yorkers would tell. Like when he was like, oh no, he looks a little Dominican to me, because there's a lot of Dominicans and fucking Puerto Ricans in New York. That shit was funny as shit. Like the writers knew how to actually put comedy in that isn't trying to grab for laughs, but actually how people actually joke around, which I take my fucking hat off to. Shit, this movie was fucking good. Another thing that I really enjoyed was the set design. I really loved the set. I liked how they built upon the first movie, talking about, have you ever seen any videos about how they animated New York? Don't cover the mic, Aiden. I swear to God, if I watch this back and that mic is muffled, thank you. I'm gonna shoot you.
I forget about the iPhone mic.
Yeah, I like how they built upon the movies better. One of my favorite shots was when Gwen and Miles were upside down in New York. I feel like with New York, it's so many buildings that they can just make it look as disgusting as possible. And I mean that in a good way, like very congealed. And Earth 42, I think, where the spider's from, how that whole Earth, you could see how destroyed it was. I really liked it all. Fucking Mumbattan, what was it? Mumbattan?
I don't know, India?
Yeah, India. Indian Spider-Man was pretty cool too. I like how they found a way to like seamlessly connect everything. And the premonition that the spot showed to Miles, I like how it had Commander Singh. You saw his face with like Miles' dad's face in it. I'm seeing that, I'm like, huh. That's pretty good. All right, I'm gonna get straight into it because I'm not gonna try and dig right. They really killed their momentum with that ending, man. They really did. They really did. Now, my initial thought is to go with how my heart feels. My heart feels like, fuck you guys for doing this shit to us, because you just gave us 2 hours of fucking gold, and then to end it like that. But it's not me trying to give them excuses or the benefit of the doubt. It's really just trying to think, why did they end the story on such a dull note? And my only thing I can try to think about was either A, maybe they had too much of a good story and they did not know how to seamlessly tie it into making it into a sequel or into another installment. Plan their steps enough to not, look like fucking complete amateurs and idiots. Because I'll be honest, like the way that they ended, it just came out of fucking nowhere. It came out of nowhere. It's not like you can tell it's the ending when everything is wrapped up. It's just feel like things are about to get started and then immediately they just cut you off. It's not like, no, it made everything feel like, okay, this is the climax. Like, very rarely does a movie end on its climax, but, people, someone's shitting down there, but people don't like that, especially the audience. The audience is the most entitled being in all of the universe, and when an audience feels like they don't get their story or what they paid for, they will be fairly upset. Now, I don't think people are going to be very upset to where they like review bomb it or they like just say horrible things about the whole movie. I think it's just the fact that some people can't take not getting what they want inherently. Now, I'm not going to say this isn't like a Infinity War. This isn't like Infinity War. Infinity War was different because at least at the end of Infinity War, it kind of calmed down. Like the bad stuff already happened and then you see Thanos chilling. So you're like, okay, the climax passed and we're in the falling action, kinda. We don't know where it's going. This movie, nothing bad happened yet that we're being shown. Okay, Miles' father's supposed to die and the spot is supposed to blow up, and in my opinion and my prediction, Peter B. Parker is going to sacrifice himself, but he brought his daughter along, so I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to kill a father in front of his child, his baby, because when you introduce something along with the character, because the baby isn't its own character, it's an extension of Peter B. Parker. When they introduce the baby, that's an extension. The baby isn't strong enough to exist without the father unless that you add another literal parent in, and I don't think Mary Jane is going to become a fucking spider person. So, and her name's Mayday too. I think Mayday is her own spider. I don't know about any of that. But yeah, like people very rarely enjoy that type of feeling because it's like, dang, nothing happened. I felt like something was going to happen, but nothing happened. Like literally nothing happened. All that happened was Miles got transported to the wrong Earth. Okay, Miles is actually the Prowler in this Earth, but like that's nothing that's like movie ending worthy in my opinion. I really don't think that. I really don't think it's something that's like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? Oh my god, like I didn't feel that. It felt like, what the fuck are they doing? They kind of shot themselves in the foot with such a good movie. Like the movie was so good that I didn't want it to end. And I didn't think that was the best place for it to end, in my opinion. Do I still think it's a magnificent movie? Yes. Am I going to rewatch it? I don't think I'm going to go back to the theater because I can't afford that right now, but I will rewatch it because there's a lot of, I was still thinking the speakers in the theater was pretty blown, like something broke, so I couldn't hear a lot of the dialogue that I wanted to, especially like the chase scenes. If I can afford it, if you guys want to donate to my my Snapchat, fucking Cash App, my Zelle, anything like that, links below. Yeah, just leave me, just left me with a bad feeling, man, because it's more like a... And another thing, I felt that it was a bit prolonged, and I mean that in the sense of some of the scenes went on too long. Now, when I first thought that, I thought, dang, they're actually making things feel real, because usually in real life, not a lot of moments go by fast like that. Like, you have to sit in it. And in this movie, I was like, dang, it feels real. But like I was saying earlier, how they shot themselves in the foot. They literally shot themselves in the foot. Like moments where they could have like kind of been like 3 seconds faster. We get to the ending, and then Spider-Ham and Spider-Noir and fucking Penny Parker shows up, and then we're like, what the fuck? What the fuck is happening here? Like, no, like. Also, because I'm just like, what the fuck? How did these other spiders come in? Like, now the original gang's back, and then Hobie. Shouts out to Hobie. Hobie's like one of my favorite characters. Funny ass nigga. Like, everybody was funny. Miguel was funny as shit, even when he was serious. Indian Spider-Man was fucking funny as shit. Who else? I think everybody was just funny. Everyone had their fucking funny moment.
It was a great script.
Like, not everybody was a comedian, but everyone was funny. Like, everyone has said a funny line. The Spot as a villain, I'm gonna say he is like, what did I say, like a week villain of the week. He is a villain of the week, and I feel like that plays into his villain role more because he is like such an unnecessary character. I feel like a lot of his motives are very unnecessary and a bit blown out of proportion for what villains' motives aren't, except for like a Joker or something. If you debate with that nigga, you can easily break his motives down, but I think for the sake of like conflict and action, they're not gonna do that, because his thing is like, you took everything away from me when he didn't really do anything. Like Miles didn't choose it. He didn't choose to be bitten. He chose to be Spider-Man, but he didn't really have a choice, because the world was about to fucking explode from a thing that you created. But like no one is really gonna fucking debate this nigga. Like no one's gonna sit down and write a fucking essay on why the Spot's wrong when he's trying to destroy the whole fucking universe. I will say this too, and yeah, I get it. Like it's when I compare these things, I'm not saying it's bad. I will say it's very much like Doctor Strange and Far From Home. I mean, No Way Home. It's fucking like identical. You have the Spider-Man that wants to keep everything. Like in No Way Home, Peter wanted to have his cake and eat it too when he couldn't, and he lost on May. In this movie, he wants to save his the world, his friends, his family, his relationship. Like he wants to save everything. That's just like No Way Home. It's also like Doctor Strange from the multiverse stuff. But I will say that this movie did it way better, because all of the fucking, I would say cameos, fuck it. You had Andrew Garfield, you had Tobey Maguire, you had them talk about the MCU Earth, you had them show fucking Spectacular Spider-Man, you had them show fucking Ultimate Spider-Man, you had them show Insomniac Spider-Man. You're probably gonna see it in all the breakdowns that fucking like what Screen Rant or New Rockstar does. I love that shit. Like I didn't even fanboy look, because I'm like, oh, look who it is. I was fucking predicting it, didn't I? I was like, yeah, they're gonna show Andrew. Like they got fucking Childish Gambino as the fucking Prowler. I love that shit, because the fucking Homecoming in 2016, we were given that little like Easter egg, the fucking breadcrumbs of Aaron being the fucking Prowler, because he's like, hey, I got a nephew here, but they never really worked on it. A lot of live action stuff that I really liked. I like how they implemented they also had the Spot in the Fox universe with Venom. I thought they were gonna show Eddie Brock, but I guess he already got his like fucking money from the MCU and did. Tom Hardy was like, I'm good. But yeah, I love the fucking live action implementation too, because in the future, hell, in the MCU could get them niggas here, and it doesn't look weird. So I really like that. It's also like Doctor Strange, because I feel like Miguel O'Hara did the Scarlet Witch thing where he went to another universe where the kids were. Like there was a lot of stuff that was just very similar. They were piggybacking a lot. It didn't diminish from the story. It was just like, okay, yeah, maybe it's because Marvel got it out literally first, and that's just why. They're all the same like companies, so it's nothing really lost. It's not like DC did it. DC can't even fathom making a good movie. Fuck Blue Beetle. We don't give a fuck about DC on this channel. If you're a DC fan, click the fuck off and kill you anyway.
They hardly talked about like Sony as a sponsor for this movie at all. It was kind of hidden.
It really was.
They showed like there was like a little bit of like a Sony headphones in one scene, but I felt like they were really promoting it as a Marvel movie instead of like the first Spider-Verse.
I disagree. I don't disagree because that was a bad point. I disagree because I think they were just promoting it as a movie. Because how do you make a Spider-Man the bad guy? You know?
Right.
Like that goes against everything in Stan Lee's ideas of a universe. Because you can say Stan. Like when they were showing Miguel, like really, when he sent Miles back, we didn't send him back, but when he sent Gwen back, like how do you make Spider-Man the bad guy? Like you just made Spider-Man a bad guy. This is not a Marvel movie anymore. Because in no Marvel movie has Spider-Man ever been bad. Name one Marvel movie where he's been bad. And I don't mean the Andrew Garfield ones where he's bad, like that, like evil or not pushing the plot forward in a positive way. That's how you put him in a bad guy. I wouldn't say he's a villain, but he's a bad guy. Like that's its own movie at this point. It breaks so many walls. It breaks so many, like even in the movie how Miles has to break his own destiny, which was never even created. This movie broke so many guidelines that a lot of other movies in the past set. And I don't think that that's what this movie's for, man. And that's what I really appreciate about it. Like this is a really good movie. It's just the ending, man. Like if people can just step outside of their thought process and look at everything before it and allow it to like carry them to their opinion of the end, I feel like it would be received better. But who knows?
There's a little bit of hype for the soundtrack, but I mean, to be honest, I didn't really even notice too much of it throughout the movie.
Yeah, like I feel like a lot of songs just went under the radar.
Yeah, I think like the only songs that really stuck out were when Uncle Aaron was playing the record, but that was because it had words or something, you know.
But that's also because it's a Jay-Z sample. Like a lot of people that listen to like rap and hip hop would get that, but a lot of young audience. Yeah, also This is not a kids movie. I'll be honest. This is an animated film for all ages. This is not just a kids movie. They also say ass in this shit. I think they say shit too. Did they say shit or shoot? That whole.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
I think they said shoot, but yeah, this is not a kids movie. So don't go in thinking that I can't bring I have to bring my son or my daughter because no, you're fine if they don't bring.
The theater was full of kids.
It was?
Oh yeah.
I didn't see that.
There was a ton of kids. I mean, we were sitting next to two.
Well, we were sitting next to two kids, but I was close to like fucking stomping their brains in. I'm kidding. I love.
Kept asking questions.
Oh no, I'm not gonna follow with the sheeple out there. I give this movie a nice, decent 8 out of 10. The ending really ruined it for me, and yeah. Where'd everybody go? Damn. Oh man. All right, so.